if you're having difficulty with trembling, right? If you're having difficulty with energy blockage and so forth, then look into Tai Chi Cha. You can look it up on taichicha.org, and you can go to the classes here. But it's no different than meditation. It's a form of moving meditation, but it's no different than meditation. You've got to make a commitment to learn the movement sufficiently and understand how to ground yourself, ground the energy, and then practice moving softly, right? So because it's the same thing with meditation here. If you don't practice moving softly and you're making an effort to do it, the very effort you're making will tighten the muscles and block the chi. So you'll be working against yourself if you try to make an effort to practice Tai Chi Cha. Now, in the beginning of learning it, it's just like meditation. You can't help it. You can't help it. But if you practice it sufficiently over time with a good teacher, eventually you'll relax and you'll start to feel the chi. Eventually your fingers will start to flicker when you're doing Tai Chi Cha because the energy gets stimulated, right? And then there's a thing called the Jing. The Jing, it's a practice in energy work and Qigong work in which you can actually do this practice to store energy in the body, increase the Qi in the body, right? And so that's part of Tai Chi Cha. And then there's a advanced form of Tai Chi Cha called Seijaku, right? And the advanced form is supposed to stimulate 10 times more Qi when you do the advanced form. Right? Most people that have experienced near-death experiences talk about being outside the body and seeing the body, right? And that's because and I mentioned this the other night, somebody mentioned the idea out-of-body experiences, right? And the truth be told, there is no out-of-body experiences because there's no in-body experience. The in-body experience is an illusion that you experience. Just because you have an awareness of what's happening inside the physical body and you have an awareness of the outside of the physical body, you think that the awareness is in the body. But if you slow down and really look at it, you can see that that's just not possible. It's just not the case. You have an awareness of what's inside the body and outside the body, but the awareness itself is aware of both. It's not aware of one or the other, right? So that's something that if you practice meditation long enough, you can have experiences in which you can see, have perception outside the body, be seeing things without the body, right? When you have experiences like that, that pretty much clears it up in terms of, what the truth about those things are. But I wouldn't worry about it. I would not get into much interest in that stuff. You're better to just stick with the basic, simple practice, right? Because this practice is not about amusement, it's not about entertainment, it's not about magic, it's not about being able to fly, it's not about any of that stuff. It's about the immediate experience you're having. We don't practice meditation for the future. We're not practicing meditation for the future. We're practicing meditation for the only real time there is, which is the present moment. And that's where life occurs. And that's where suffering happens. And that's why we're talking about being present to what's happening right now, right? And be able to experience that the way it's actually happening. And be able to experience what you are the way that's actually happening. That's what the promise of these teachings and practices are, is to wake up to the truth and experience moment to moment a sense of well-being, a sense of freedom, a sense of being relaxed, a sense of well-being, a sense of happiness and peace. First of all, you can tell if somebody's awake if you're awake, and you can tell if somebody's awake if you're awake, and at the time you're interacting with them, you're not in the middle of identifying with your thinking, or you're not in the middle of identifying with your emotions. Because if you're in the middle of that, right, then you're in the same identity that they are in. Right? Because don't forget, this is not intended for you to wake up and then experience being the awareness consistently without fail, constantly, without change. This is not meant for that. This is meant for you to have enough certainty about that, That's why I was talking about certainty the other day, whatever it was. To have enough certainty about that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So you can tell yourself. See, that's the thing first. The first question is, can you tell when you're in an awake experience or when you're in an identification with your personality and your mind? See, because don't forget, almost all of us, I could say all of us, but I won't. Almost all of us have experienced a conditioning process that has left us in a state of mind and in a personality state, right, that is other than what is real. Most of us go through childhood experiences in which we make bad decisions about ourselves in terms of not being good enough, I don't have to tell you about that stuff, we all know, right? We make these decisions and conclusions about being not enough, being inadequate, not being smart enough, not being pretty enough, and that gets helped by the environment that you're in. When you go to school as a little kids are ruthless, So you get tortured by kids, big kids torture little kids, beautiful kids torture ugly kids, and so you get a lot of mixed up kids that are suffering, right? Between that and the experiences we have when we're growing up in our families, right, you grow up with a personality that was designed to compensate for the problem that you were. So if you thought you were stupid, you would design a compensatory way of dealing with that, like learning how to act smart. If you thought you were stupid, you would put all your energy into having good grades so nobody could ever say you're stupid, right? So, and then that becomes your personality, and you're using this put together personality that compensates for all the things you thought were wrong with you. You're using that to live your life now. You're using that to live in your relationships with other people now. And they're doing the same thing with you, right? So there's unreal and unreal. Now, there's a put together personality that was designed to survive and compensate for all that was wrong with it, to put together a good front, right? To put together a good front so nobody could see what's behind that, right? And that's how people are living their lives, right? So when you do meditation and you wake up, right? When that stuff is playing now, you see it for what it is. When that stuff is playing now, you watch your personality behave in ways to try and control how people see you. You watch your personality try and be, or one of the ways it shows up is that you do a lot of the things you do because it'll get you respect, it'll get you recognition, it'll make you look good, right? You do a lot of things you do for those reasons, and if you're paying attention and you're awake, you'll see yourself doing it that way. You'll feel, oh, this is good, it's gonna make me look good. This new car is good, it's gonna make people think good of me, right? Or if I get enough degrees, right, then people will respect me, right? Or if I get enough work done on my plastic surgery done on my face, people will think I'm beautiful, right? And so that's the stuff that's going on. The problem with it is that it's empty. It doesn't really provide any satisfaction because you know the truth. You can look different, but you won't feel different. You can do a lot to make your body beautiful, but still feel ugly, right? One of the biggest problems psychologically and emotionally that we see in clinical psychology practice is beautiful women who have body dysphoria. Beautiful women, but when they look in the mirror, they see an ugly person, right? Because their emotional understanding of who they are and their actual appearance physically are two different subjects that are not connected at all, And that's a tragedy. That's a tragedy. Or you have women that get responded to because they're attractive physically, right? But then they suffer from deep-seated insecurity because they think the person is only loves my body, they don't love me, okay? And that will eventually come out in the relationship, right? So when you practice meditation and you wake up, that's why I say this is psychotherapeutic, because if you practice relationship and you wake up and you're paying attention and you're watching how the thinking and the behaviors are designed to get you to survive, designed to keep you in charge, designed to not let anybody dominate you, designed to keep you looking good, designed to keep you winning the game of life, right? When you're awake, you see all that, and not only do you see it, but you realize how empty it is. You realize it doesn't help. It's not working. And it takes all your energy. You have to be on the job 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, you know, creating who you want people to see. That's a hell of a life to have to lead, you know? And then you can get so confused about it that you don't know yourself what's real anymore. You don't know, you know, what you're showing people, whether that's the real you, or what you're afraid of, whether that's the real you. And when it gets to that point, you're getting close to needing outside help. So this is very important, you know, this is very important, because what's available through the practice of meditation is that you can wake up and actually experience life that has equanimity, life that has balance, you know, an identity that's not associated with your physical appearance, an identity that's not related at all to what you can do or what you can't do, you know, what your performance in life. It's not related at all to that. Your worth is a given. You know, your worthwhileness, your lovability, your acceptability is a given. You don't have to do anything for it. And you can experience that to be the case, so much so that if anybody else is in their crazy states of personality, right, and behaving toward you that way, all you feel for them is compassion and kindness. Yeah? Because you realize that they're stuck in a very limited form that has been conditioned to survive, not conditioned to be happy, not conditioned to experience a state of well-being. You know, it's a job. Most people's life is a job. And I don't mean a job just to make money, I mean a job to survive from day to day, you know, without feeling overrun by fear, without feeling overrun by frustration, without feeling overrun by depression. And you can see this is getting worse and worse in the human kingdom, you know, where people are more depressed, more anxious, right? Life becomes about making money, and making the money to buy the drugs and the substances to take, so that when you're not busy making money, you can just be tranquilized until the next cycle starts. Right? And it's a cycle, you know, people get up, go through the motions, go to sleep, get up, go through the motions, go to sleep, get up, go through the motions, and go to sleep. At some point, if that starts to be seen for what it is, meditation becomes a very attractive possibility, you know, because it's offering you a way out of that. It's offering you a way to actually experience being alive. The awareness that you are is alive, it's living. It's not dead, it's not a material thing. It's not based in time. They talk about in the high teachings the fourth time, right? Meaning that's just a way of talking about no time. You know, there's past, present, and future, and then there is the fourth time. In the fourth time, there is no time. There is no past, there is no present, there is no future. And everything that goes along with time, right, which is things that appear and disappear, right? That's a function of time. It takes time for things to appear and disappear, right? Everything goes along with that, goes out the window with it. That's why in the end of the Heart Sutra, if you study the Heart Sutra, right? In the end of the Heart Sutra, it says in the end, you know, something to the effect of beyond, beyond, beyond. And what they're talking about is beyond time, beyond form. That's why in the Heart Sutra it says, no eyes, no nose, no ears, right? Why? Because they're all conceptual understandings. You know, this is beyond conceptual understanding, and in this experience there is no form, there is no eyes, there is no body.